Hello and welcome to a review of the production line developed and published by Positech Games. And production line is a management strategy simulation game where you run a new car factory and then you develop different kind of cars, you do research to get more parts for your cars and try to make shitloads of money and be efficient while doing that. But anyways, it's a pretty cool game. If you like kind of management games where you have conveyor belts and lots of machines building things, it's kind of awesome like that. Let's go into the new game and I'll show you the ropes of it. So currently it's in early access, so expect a bit of funkiness, bugs and all that as usual, as with all early access games. There is also some really awesome feature which I can't show right now because I already did it. There's a voting inside the game by the developer. So developer is asking questions like, what would you like to see next? Is difficulty too hard? On all of that. It's just in the menu here, in the main menu of the game, and then you can click, okay, I would like to see this feature being developed. The game's difficulty was kind of okay for me, and then submit, which is a really cool feature to have in an early access game, to give direct feedback immediately when the developer needs it. Also, you can see their YouTube and all of this as well from here. You have achievements and all that. So, you have option of different size factories. You start out with the white area here, and then you can expand into smaller areas as you research things. Let's just go for like a medium one. You can do a sandbox build or a free play. So no financial limits, no competition, etc. Achievements are disabled, and then no specific goal, but there is AI competition who researches things, and then you need to improve your cars as well. But yeah, let's go with this. So starting cash, medium factory, and all of that. So here we are in our bigger factory here, and let's pause this. So looking at the UI here first, as usual, how I like to start this is your current day, all your speed options, your power up. So we are currently using a bit of power up, but producing 0%. Then our cash, where you can see also your balances, incomes, expenses, imports, and all of these important spreadsheets and everything. If you're if you like management tycoon games, kind of that type of stuff, here's all your information that you need for that. Then we have on this side, we have the main menu that goes back to the main menu where we start the game, then options, save, and then we come on to the important stuff. So buildings, research. So here's the research of the game. So there's a bunch of different research you need to do. And then there's also technologies here. So you can research stuff like, let's say, central locking car alarms, keyless entry, air conditioning, and all these fancy features that you can add to your cars. Also, like just basic features, and then some really nice fancy features. Also, new cars, new buildings, like new processes here. You can manufacture your own parts instead of just buying them from outside. And all of that is there. So you can also get some specializations that gives you options. And I'll explain these specializations and everything in a more in depth in a second. There's also marketing in the game, which I can show because I don't have the marketing yet, but you can also run marketing campaigns for your cars. Here's your car stock, your showroom. So as you produce cars, they get into the car stock in the showroom here, and then they get sold from here. So if you start piling up tons and tons of cars in your showroom, it probably means they're either crappy, people don't want them, they're too expensive, or something like that. If your cars just fly off the shelves in the showroom, it probably means you get a good product there, and it's probably too cheap. So you might want to increase the price to make it go a bit slower, so you can get some more money out of that and cover your expenses. You can also see the market information here. So currently we can basically produce pretty much only budget sedans, which is the base name for the car, but you can change that to anything. I think I changed it here. On my previous playthrough, I think we had a Bellargini Craptastic. Yeah, that's good enough. So this is now Bellargini Craptastic. And you can reduce and increase the price, as I said here. So if you have a really shitty car and want to sell it on discount, you can do that. But you can also see that you probably will run a lot of money if you don't sell them with a high enough margin. And you can also change colors for your cars. By default, they're random color that you have unlocked, but you can also decide that we only want to produce black cars. Pelargini Craptastic will only be in black color. And here you can also see that you have customers per hour, produced per hour, sales per hour. So from the customers per hour, you can see like what kind of cars they're looking for, and then how much you're producing those cars, and how many of you are selling them. So if you see, for example, that there's a lot of people looking for say mid-range SUVs, that's probably something you want to produce then. You can also see how many people in total are visiting your place. Competitiveness of the car market affects like pricing of the cars. So what is like mid-range and what is high range and all expensive range cars, and it kind of goes up and down. So you might have to adjust your car values to hit the budget mid-range option and all of that, depending on the competitiveness of market, and it changes quite rapidly. Also without any notification or anything, so you kind of have to keep an eye on this and kind of eyeball that you are selling them in the right categories, and also that they're a right price and all that. Your total market share and your brand awareness, which is affected by the marketing basically. So if people see your car in the next James Bond movie, they're likely probably going to ask and see how that car is and maybe buy that as well. Or if there is no market awareness, nobody knows your cars are even being made, so nobody's gonna buy your emerging sports cars because nobody knows that they actually exist. So that's basically that. And you can also make different models here. So this Craptastic is our base car, and we can create a similar model, which is a different, basically like a blueprint for the car that we can do. You can also archive to throw them away, the models. And when you get some features like airbags and etc., you have an option to include them here, which we don't of course have currently because we haven't made any cars. But when you make like say a budget car, you might have well, airbags might be nice to have, power steering, maybe windscreen wipers, all these basic things for a basic budget car. But then when you go to the like a more expensive car, mid-range, you might want to include new features like sat-nav or whatever you want to include in the mid-range, and so on and so on. And this is how you do them. So in your factory, you build them, and you add options that they can be added to your cars, and then here you make like the blueprint of what kind of car you want to actually be produced in your factory. So that's basically that part. Let's actually build some of that. So here's the build menu, which is one of my complaints about the game currently in this early access version, is that a lot of the UI is probably, hopefully, still a work in progress, because it's kind of rough in parts. The font is hard to read, especially if you play on the smaller screen, or if you're watching this review on YouTube. Some of this text might be really difficult to read on like a smaller window, and for especially people who have somehow hindered eyesight, it might be really difficult to read. There's also if you do the tutorial boxes have red background with white text, and it's really hard to see even with a good eyesight like me. So some kind of UI improvements would definitely be nice. Also, this gets really like this menu is not too bad, but when you get deeper in the game and you start getting like these additional options, and you can open up these menus here, and then you get sub-menu and sub-menu and sub-menu and sub-menu, it gets kind of rough. There's also no kind of search option or anything, so you can have to memorize like, okay, I got this upgrade, where is it under these, so I need to open this and this and this. It shows you like a new here when you research things, so it kind of helps you that way to find that thing, but it's still good. I don't know, I mean, I'm not a game developer, so I don't know how it should be made, and I don't know what would be a better system, but I know this is definitely not optimal how it is currently, so hopefully we'll see some improvement on that. But let's get a basic car line being built. So this is our factory space here. These are office space here, so you can build stuff like facilities there, so research offices, which are required for researching new products. We might start with one in there and just get a researcher going, and Let's see, what do we want? Just some basic technology. We'll just get some let's save the feature. Nah, it's not needed. Let's get that. No, actually, move that. Look at the entertainment. Entertainment. We need in-car music. Stereos in every car. And now they start researching. Each of these produces a certain amount of research points per hour, basically. And then they get tallied up in here. And building up multiples of these is quite important. There's also design studios, which give you the new car models, like SUVs and sports cars, etc. And not the basic car. Then power plants allow you to produce your own power. Instead of buying the power, which actually saves you a lot of money, which is really nice. And then you can also manufacture your own parts, like in here, servos and sensors and etc. And you can also build them from here, and then produce your own parts from materials instead of importing old parts, which makes it a lot cheaper. And then in here you have import and export, basically, slots. So you have importers, and then you have exports in here. So we want to build an importer to start here. So we have an importer there. And then we start just building these in order here. So the simplest line is just have an importer to bring the materials that you need to produce. And then just have these in line. You can also see that each of these have a cost, so 67,000, etc. You have time, employees, which doesn't really affect any power, which affects how much power you're using, and then fit rear axle, front axle, etc. on that. And when you get a research, you get these like fit axles. So instead of just having a single building build all of those, or fit everything, you have like sub-assemblies. So instead of doing the axles and the undercarriage and drive shaft and a fuel tank in this one building, you do axles in its own, then you fit a undercarriage, and then you fit a fuel tank separately. And also, when you want to include those fancy upgrades into your car, you need to have these sub-assemblies, because the basic assemblies do not have the option to include that thing. And it gets pretty complicated very quick when you start adding all those parts. And it gets really expensive as well. It's very expensive to add all the fancy parts into your car. And I bankrupted myself several times that way when I was learning the game first. So start small and expand from there slowly. Not just try to go, I'll make the biggest, best sports cars immediately. And then, well, you don't. you bankrupt. But anyways, let's get an assembly line going. So we can start anywhere with this. It doesn't really matter as long as we have a resource coming. So we'll just do here. You can see the arrows. It's pointing that the conveyor belt should go there. But since this is the start of the line, we can just plop it down there. So this is where we put the chassis together with the axles and everything. Then we need to fit body. And as you can see, fit body has a lot of fitting in there, which can be separated into even more parts. So it gets really complicated. But now we just need one of those after that. But if you look at the time in there, so this one is 31 minutes to produce one body. But our chassis assembly here is 12 minutes, 13-ish minutes. So you can almost do 3 of them per one of these. So you already come into the problem that, maybe I want 3 of these after this one. So I would probably actually just demolish this one. I'm not gonna do a super fancy one this time, but I'm gonna put a second one there, and then I'm gonna put another fit body here, so that we at least get usage, more usage out of this, so that both of these are gonna be running all the time, and this one is not just waiting here. And we'll add a conveyor belt that goes here, and then a second one that goes there, and it automatically splits cars to both sides, and then we need conveyor belts coming out of there. And the next one after the fit body is paint, which is also 34 minutes and a bit. So painting is really slow. When you split these into even smaller sub-assemblies, it pretty much amounts into the 34 minutes, but there are separate parts, and then you can split like the initial part, like painting the car, is fairly quick, but then drying is very slow. So you need one painter, but several dryers, and then there comes a second time of painting the car. So you can pull all those different conveyor belts from the dryers into a single painter again, and then you need the after drying for that second part, and then you split again into multiple dryers, and then you just combine it again. It's kind of fancy how you do it. It's pretty cool. And it gets very complicated very quickly. Also, in these, you have upgrades, so you can add extra robots. So you can see the robot arms there, just assembling cars, and these kind of affect the speed and power consumption. And you can add these to make it maximum usage of speed bonus for your things. But you can also kind of fuddle with the numbers so that you have basically most efficient usage of every building, so that you always have a car waiting. But not too many cars waiting, so that everything is basically running non-stop. And also, you need to import enough resources so that they also do that all the time. And there's one upgrade that helps with that. I'm not sure if these can do it actually, but it's like a predictive stocking. So normally, when you have a conveyor belt coming from here, let's just build one there. You can have it on the buildings. So this conveyor line will bring now materials in there, and it only brings them when they need it basically. So they don't pre-stock, but when you predictive stock in it, it has it immediately restock the stock when it starts building, not when it finishes building, basically. But now that we have those, let's add all these painters here. So we'll just do 2 painters because we have 2 of these, and it's about the same duration, 30-ish minutes. Oops, messed up that, and then just like there. And now that we have those, the next one is 22 minutes. So normally when I was building these early on, I had one of these, 3 of these, 3 of these, and then 2 feed engines. And I think I'm going to be just doing 2 of these right now here as well, just for the demonstration purpose, and not being mega efficient on this one. So it's 22 minutes for these, and then we have feed accessories, which is 15 minutes. So we can probably do just one of these. And I'm going to put it here. I'm going to rotate it this way because I'm going to export my cars that way. So we'll put it here. There. And accessories has lights and horns and windscreens and air con and all of these things for your cars. And then upgrades for those as well. And we need to combine these. So we'll just combine the lines there. And then they go into here. You might want to leave some space. When you're first designing the base, you can see the colors, like this is fit accessories and this is fit engines and all that. You might want to leave, I mean, you have a lot of space to start with. So you might want to leave a bit of space, so like put chassis assembly here, then a bit of space, put the bodies, put the paint, put the engines, put the other stuff and everything kind of spaced out. So when you research and can upgrade, you don't have to demolish the whole line to redo it. And it really saves a lot of money and effort that way. So now we have basically everything we need to put the car together. Except, I guess, electronics might be nice to have as well. So let's put the electronics as well. Then you need to quality check that your car actually functions. It has a visual inspection, performance, and emissions check. And no cheating on the emissions. And then your car is ready to be sold. So we need to export it, and the exports go in the export slot here, where our marketing dudes are like, aha, we're gonna sell your car now for lots of money, much more than it was worth. And that's basically my basic line. So now we can unpause it, and then we immediately see there's no route to stockpile. So give us materials. So I'm just gonna build a line here. It's trying to be wonky today. And then here, and I think we'll do a second one that comes around here. And there's definitely a lot of logistics how you build these lines so that everything gets materials quick enough, and using probably multiple import slots would probably not be a bad idea. You can upgrade the importer speed and conveyor belt speed and the everything as well, which will make it faster. So you can see we are now importing materials out of these 2 slots. They're going where they're needed. On the conveyor belts there are a lot of paint cans being moved where it is needed. So let's speed up a bit and we'll let those go. And here our first car is being assembled. The lazy workers just staring at the machinery. Don't touch anything as long as it's working. And our robots run the factory. So first chassis is being made there. And then it goes on a conveyor belt, and it goes to the right direction here. And then it gets all the exterior added in there. And that's it. As you can see, it takes quite a while to do these initial parts of the car. So that's why you want multiples. There's a second one being built there, and then another one splitting. Then there's one in the queue now, waiting there. And there's one being painted currently as well. Second one goes into the paint. And there's gonna be a bit of a pile-up of chassis here, which is a good thing because it immediately allows me to get the next one being built once this is moving forward. But eventually this is gonna get traffic jammed because this is producing faster than these. And then we are adding what are we doing? Fitting an engine here on this part. And I think we get wheels also here. So engine, wheels, steering, brakes, and all that seems to be added in that part. And around the corner we go into the fit accessories. So we get horns and cars and windscreens and all of that, lights, all the kind of necessary things to have in a car. And here comes the second one. So these are actually working pretty good efficiency already. As you can see, this one was complete. The car immediately got in there, and hopefully next car is not too far down the line coming as well. We added our electronics, which was really quick, and then our quality check is there, done. And here car goes for a sale. So soon we'll pop up the showroom here, and it will teleport from here into the showroom, and hopefully into the market. So here we are, basic car performance check, in all the stuff done, 20,000 to sell this car. 13 people are checking our craptastic Bellarginis at the moment. Doesn't seem to be selling at the moment, might want to lower the price. And you can see also the number here, so they're stockpiling cars. It was 2, now it's 1. So we've made some money. And this is basically how you play the game. So you start with this basic setup, then you do research as we are doing here. You get all these new parts, new assembly things like this fit axles and these, and then you make more complex parts there, and then you build different models, etc., and expand. And you start with a small factory, and then you unlock the other ones as you play a bit, and then you can choose basically. It's very sandboxy currently, and there's in the voting there was like scenarios and all that that is very likely going to come in the game later on, but not in there yet. Let's jump around quickly into the main menu here. So we're gonna abandon this here, and I'm gonna load up my other save that I was playing before. So this is my other factory, a bit bigger factory in here. Let me just quickly scroll around so I'll show you all of this. It's not the most efficient thing. Like this one is all of these car icons are actually cars in their line there. So as you can see, this is kind of jam-packed with cars currently in there. So we started in the middle here, in this area. This was the mega factory, I think. And we had a line starting here. So we have 2 chassis assemblies. And as you can see, I have separated them now. So it's a fit front, rear, drive shaft, undercarriage, separately in there. Fuel tank comes later as well. And in these you can see that we have done the upgrades, like the predictive stock control and everything. And I don't think this initial one doesn't have any. There's a large battery pack we could do, of course, in there. But in this there's no real upgrades. And then we come into the fit body, which is still the basic one. In this one I have done it here though, so let's see. The green one is the fit body one. So we have a lot of body shell, fit hood, fit roof, etc. So for example, in the fit roof we have new options. We have a open roof panoramic sunroof and just a sunroof that you can add into the options that you can add from that part. Let's run this. Also in this, I have built a power generation, so this area here is just churning out power, and as you can see, this is now 100% by our own production instead of what is being imported. So I'm saving a ton on power. My expenses here actually shows no power purchases at all. I did spend 676,000 on the power, but now I'm spending 0. Of course, there's a bit of other costs on that, but still not much. So as you can see, component purchases are a massive part of our expenses. So we started a bit to deal with that, and this is all production here. So I'm producing my own parts, not enough though, and also I don't have enough room to store them properly yet. But that should cut a big portion out of the cost that we are doing. We're also producing several different cars here. So down here is our selling point on this one. So we have just a normal same one we had earlier being sold there. Then there's SUVs. There's those minis, smaller cars going through there, like that one. And you can see that our showroom here has a lot of different types of cars being sold, and a lot of market information. We have a brand awareness going, a lot of customers, and all that, and a lot of competitiveness at the moment. One thing that comes from having an AI is that in the research here, as you research things, you can add them to your cars, but as enemies, your AI opponents research things, they become more and more common in different types of cars, and people start to expect them to be in the cars. So initially they can buy like any crap car because that's the only thing available, but when everyone has for example power steering here, it becomes common in budget cars and universal in everything else, etc, etc. And then here it's common. Auto steer headlights is now universal in luxury cars, common in expensive, rare in mid-range, and budget very rare, and etc, etc. This is also a good way to see what you should probably research when a lot of AI opponents are researching, for example, a certain thing. You may want to research that also and have it in your car. All your cars will be just collecting dust in the showroom because you don't have that feature that is basically expected to be in the cars now. And that works through the car designs here. So we have a bunch of different cars here. Our Bellargini Craptastic, the flagship of the Bellargini cars, is our budget option. So we have air conditioning, which is common now, and then automatic windscreen wipers has been added. Color arm is probably something we should add because it's common, and same with these other ones. And then I think there was something that was universal now. But anyways, these are very much must have now. But these other ones are very rare, so no one expects them to be in this budget car. Then we have the family cattle wagon, which is the mid-range car for us. And there's different requirements and different ones that are included in this one. Like power steering is now universal, so it's the red one. You have to have this. Bellargini Gringer is our expensive car in this one. And there's other requirements for that. And then we have our SUV, the Urban Destroyer. Different requirements, and you can just add new things, like now sat-nav is included in the Urban Destroyers, except the ones that are already built. They don't have it, so you need to sell that stock first and then build new ones. Our Nature Destroyer, which is the mid-range SUV, and different options for that. Bellargini Shrinky Dingy, our small budget car, and then a Semi-Dingy, the mid-range small car. And we can also do sports cars and pickups and all that. We haven't actually set up line yet for that. But that's basically production line. So you build massive car factories. This is a small factory. This is not a very inefficient small ass factory. Like this part is really bad. I've seen some screenshots and videos of people who have made some amazing setups of this already. Just reaching, studying the numbers of how quickly these produce things and etc. All these to make like a perfectly efficient car factory lines, and it's a sight to behold. This one was my first try of just making this kind of crazy line, and there's a lot of cars going in the line there. But anyways, if you like this kind of stuff where you fiddle with the market prices, build factory lines, conveyor belts, parts, and all of that, it's a very good game. It is in early access, as I said, so it's still being developed, added new features. I didn't really encounter any issues myself, except the UI is a bit... it's there, I guess. It has some issues with like reading the text is... I mean, it is mostly fine, but sometimes it's kind of hard to see. The build menu being pretty annoying. As I said, when you start to have to open like these to find parts, it gets rough. Also, the fact that all the make options, so these ones that make your car parts, are hidden under like all of this line here. So I need to open 3 menus just to find that. And it would be nice to have like all the make options potentially like under their own like a facility tab here or something. So this is functional, but it is kind of annoying to deal with, especially when you're learning the game. It's like, where the hell was that part again, and what that's that part, and where was the make option for that? And it's kind of annoying in that way. But other than that, it's actually a pretty nice game if you want to fidge some numbers and crunch some cars together and make more and more efficient factory. It definitely has that bit of addiction there. And also the fact that it's not... I mean, I bankrupted several times when I played the game. It's still kind of hard, especially when you start making these more expensive, very detailed lines. It gets very expensive to run that line. And I'm still kind of surviving. And then you throw in the AI customers and the whole market system, brand awareness, and the changing competitiveness of the car market, and having to adjust your car prices to match the everything. It gets complex, and it's a complex in good way. Except it could use some notifications, especially when the competitiveness changes a lot from like high to low suddenly. Also, there's the marketing here, so you can run brand awareness campaigns and all that. It's really nice. Just in general, I would like a bit more like feedback on things like why are we doing this bad. And for example, it could have like a warning that this certain type of car has been just sitting in your showroom. Like the blue one here is very much filling my stock here, it seems, and the red one. Maybe give me a reason, like why is it doing that? Why am I having this problem? You can kind of find it out by looking at this and what is required, what you're adding to the cars, and also checking the market stuff and everything like that. You can find the information, but I wish it was a bit more well presented as well. But anyways, that's my review of the production line. Highly recommended if you like this type of games. It's good, it's great, and it's being developed, and also developer is asking a lot of feedback, like what you want to see, what you want to add to the game, and all that. So if you want to make it even better game, there is your chance. So definitely check it out. But if you like this review, check out the other reviews, previews, let's plays, guides, everything on the YouTube channel, and check out the live stream on nard.tv or at twitch.tv/Pelaner, where I do live streams of this kind of games, other building games, strategy, management, and bit of everything every day. So I'll see you there, and thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you next time. So bye bye.